It's late Friday night, actually early Saturday morning. We're just about 11 hours to kick off, so we've got to get these college football predictions in. Mark Rogers TV on a week 13. Okay, the SEC basically taking the week off. Bama, Western Carolina, Georgia, Charleston, Southern, and Auburn and Samford. Yes, the favorites do win, but Vegas is not touching these games. All right, just a rung above that, Clemson, 40.5-point favorites against Georgia State. Yes, Georgia State is 1-9. Let's take the 40.5 points anyway. Okay, let's dig into it now. Elsewhere in the ACC, we've got Florida State. The line has been cut from 20 to 17. Take the Noles at home minus the 17 against Boston College. We expect the Eagles to show up and play extremely well, but 17 points can be wiped out rather quickly, and the superior athleticism and the speed of Florida State will take over the game in the fourth quarter. Florida State minus 17 against BC. Okay, out to the Pac-12 with some very important games with the South Division very much up for grabs. Utah and Arizona, that game in Utah, and the Utes will win it over the Wildcats. But take the 4.5 games. The 4.5 points here. This is going to be a close game. Take the Wildcats with the 4.5 points. Utes win it. USC UCLA, my favorite game of the weekend. By far. Love this game. And it means a ton in the Pac-12 South as USC is at 6-2. They'll be in the clubhouse after this game. And if they win it, they need an Arizona State loss. UCLA's in the driver's seat. They control their destiny. And I like UCLA for one big reason. If you match up the quarterbacks, Cody Kessler's had a tremendous year at USC. 29 touchdowns, 3 picks. Brett Hundley, though, provides that breakaway capacity in the run game. When a play breaks down, he can break contain, and he can take it the distance. So I like Brett Hundley to convert third downs with his legs, and UCLA over USC. Both teams have strong rushing attacks with Buck Allen, Paul Perkins, defenses that usually show up, but the Bruins have a little bit more depth, and they've got the Hundley factor at the Rose Bowl. UCLA wins, but take USC plus the 4.5. It's going to be close. Okay, Oregon, they run away from Colorado. The Buffs, to their credit, 0-7 in the Pac-12, but they've played most of these games close. Not this time, though. Ducks minus 32.5. To the Big 12, couple games here. Baylor, Oklahoma State. What's happened to the Cowboys? They will get annihilated in this one, but take the 30. Thunderstorms in the forecast in Waco. Yeah, the game's going to be ugly, but 30 points for a decent Big 12 team, I'll take it. Oklahoma, Kansas. Likewise, I know the Jayhawks are coming off that best game of the year effort against TCU. They almost pulled off the shocker, and they're getting 26.5 in Norman. But Trevor Knight's questionable. Sterling Shepard questionable for this game. Take Kansas in 26.5 against Oklahoma. All right, now to the Big Ten. Ohio State looking to beat down Indiana and Michigan to get to the Big Ten championship game. They will. I don't like this spread, but I still have to go with the Buckeyes, putting up probably double nickels in this game against the Hoosiers. Minus 34.5, go with the Buckeyes. Michigan State, Rutgers. Rutgers, they're bowl eligible. They've accomplished that in the Big Ten. Otherwise, they've won a few games at 3-4 in the Big Ten. Or actually, I believe they're 2-4 in the Big Ten. And against the elite teams, they have gotten trounced. Nebraska, Wisconsin, and now Michigan State. Also Ohio State in there. So Michigan State wins over Rutgers, minus 22 as the Spartans win big at home. Elsewhere in the Big Ten, Wisconsin, Iowa, one of those key Western Division battles as the best teams in the West will play the last 3 games of the season here. Wisconsin, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota. Wisconsin's got it in the driver's seat for them after the big win over Nebraska. They cover the 10 points at Iowa. Okay, upset of the week and confidence pick. Put a star next to this game. Minnesota, Nebraska. Yes, the Huskers could be mad. They should be mad after they got blasted in Madison. 56 straight points given up. 408 yards by Melvin Gordon. This team should be embarrassed. And yeah, psychologically, we should say Nebraska at home after getting trounced and embarrassed on national television should come back and beat up on the poor Gophers. No, Minnesota's they're a consistent team. We saw them against Ohio State last week. Yeah, they gave up big yardage, but they held in the red zone. They took advantage of Buckeye mistakes, and Nebraska much more prone to mistakes than Ohio State. Minnesota may not necessarily win this game, although I'm picking the Gophers to win the game in Lincoln. I don't know what I'm going to get out of Nebraska from week to week, but Jerry Kill, not having the most talented team, has a very consistent team. Consistent effort week to week. This Minnesota team's not going to get phased. Nebraska, if they don't come out strong, they could lack some self-confidence in that game. I don't see that out of Minnesota. I see a very confident team, a team that is very determined and will play to the whistle each and every play and to the final gun. Minnesota wins, plus take that 11 for a bonus. That's a confidence pick. All right, Arizona State, Washington State, big game for the Sun Devils at home. They need to win this one, of course, against the Cougars, who are playing out the string. That said, Washington State puts up points, so 16 is too much. Arizona State, Jalen Strong is a bit nicked up. Take the Sun Devils to win to set up a last weekend showdown against Arizona that could be for all the marbles in the Pac-12 South, but take Washington State plus the 16 points. All right, now to the SEC, and most of the marquee teams are playing scrimmage games, but Mississippi State, former number 1, hosting Vandy, they will run away with it and cover 30. Ole Miss taking on Arkansas. A lot of people love the Hogs in this one after they broke through with a big win over LSU, breaking that 17-game SEC losing streak. I am not one of them. I think this will be a competitive game, but Ole Miss is a more talented football team, and that defense is rock solid. And I know the rush defense looked a little vulnerable against LSU in their power running game in particular, and against Auburn to a certain extent. And Arkansas's got the running game, but they've got no threat of a pass to a degree that Ole Miss needs to worry about it with that secondary. Ole Miss wins and they cover 3.5 points. Mizzou and Tennessee. People love Tennessee. They're 3.5 point favorites at home. People consider this an upset if Tennessee wins, but Vegas says they're a 3.5 point pick, meaning they're pretty much even, Mizzou and Tennessee. I think Mizzou travels well. We saw them go play at Kyle Field last week in front of 100,000 people at Texas A&M, and they did just fine. And Mizzou wins this game. Yes, they win and they cover, of course, 3.5 points. Tigers win it and set up a Week 14 matchup against Arkansas to get to the SEC championship game for a second straight year. And finally, Notre Dame, Louisville. The Irish look like a very strong football team, one of the nation's 5 or 10 best just a few weeks ago, but since has dropped one to Arizona State, giving up 55 and losing to Northwestern last week. So Northwestern's win, or Florida State's win against Notre Dame, doesn't look so great now. Notre Dame hosting Louisville. Louisville, of course, could have made their season putting the hammer down at home against Florida State a few weeks ago, leading 21-0. They couldn't hang on. This is still a fun Louisville team to watch. Michael Dyer at running back. The quarterback, Gardner, is improving by the week. This is a pretty strong program that Bobby Petrino has inherited from Charlie Strong, who inherited that from Bobby Petrino. Notre Dame wins, though, at home against Louisville, and they cover the 3 points. There's the picks and the one confidence pick. Listen up. Minnesota plus 11 against Nebraska. Need to hear from you now. Let's hear your picks for Week 13 right here on Mark Rogers TV.